guys, welcome to the next episode of CCA Kids Art. Today we're going to be making some woven paper flowers. Step one of making your paper plate is to make your petals. Divide your plate into 17 sections. They don't need to be equal. They won't be equal. Some sections will be a little bit bigger than the others, and that's fine. Some sections will be like 4 little things across, some will be 5. That's fine, but it needs to have an odd number of sections. If you're younger and want it to be a bit easier, you can go all the way down to 11. If you want to make really thin petals, you can go up to like 21. I like how 17 looks on the plate, so that's what I'm doing. So the first step is just to take your pencil and make those marks. You might have to erase and rewrite them, get them to exactly the size you want, and that's fine. Once you have that done, you're going to cut down to the center line of the plate, just like that, for each of the petals. So cut all of those out. Once you have all your flower petals cut out, then you're going to shape them into petals. Start from the middle of each section and do a curve to the edges like this, so that it comes out looking like that. And you're just going to cut each one of these rectangles down like that into a petal. See? Once you have all your petals cut out, it'll look like this. If you've got dots that you want to get rid of, like this, you can just go back with an eraser and just erase them off. You have some white string wrapped like this on its own in your bag. You're going to want to take this string and you're going to use it to wrap your flower. So let me untie that. Before you start cutting, you want to make a hole in the middle with scissors. You can get a parent to help you. Just the very last strand of yarn is going to go through the middle. So take your yarn, start in the back. You want to make sure you leave enough room to tie it off when you're done. So you're going to come out, try to go as straight as possible across your flower, wrap it behind that petal, and then come back across to the very next petal, wrap it around, bring it down, and you're going to go in a circle wrapping behind the petal and across your flower, behind the petal, across the flower, behind the petal, across the flower. And you're going to do that all the way around. When you get to this, I can't wrap it around here. I have to bring it down and up through the last open section. Cut your string so it's wide enough to go through and tie off. You want it to wrap across all of the strings so they all tuck together in the center. So bring them down like this. and push that piece of thread, pull that through the middle so they're all like that. Flip it over to the back, take your end piece and your starting piece, tie them together in a knot, double knot really, to get it nice and secure, and just cut off the extra string. And then this is what the front of your flowers should look like. Now take the rest of your thread. You're gonna have a pile of 4 colors of thread wrapped like this. The smallest thread will be on the outside, so you'll work with that one first, and then go in. All of your colors are gonna vary. It was based on what we have. So the very first thread for all of you is going to be white. It looks best to get all of the white threads together. You're gonna take your first white thread, pick any strand, and tie it in a knot. It's okay to have excess. Slide it down into the middle. You can leave your extra thread on for now. It'll get woven in with everything else. And then you're gonna take your thread and weave it across. Starting from the one that you tied it to, take the next strand and go under it. And at this point, it's very important to make sure you're pulling it into the center with each tug. Go over and under, and over the next one, and under the next one. And you're gonna go around the flower, just weaving over a thread and under a thread, over a thread and under a thread, making sure that you stop and pull the string a little bit to make sure it's as far down as it'll go. Over a thread, under. And then you just keep going around and around. You don't have to use up your entire thing of white because we have 4 colors, but you want to get it out a little bit. You especially want to use the white until all of the strings are tied together. So you want to get a bit of white going around here, but over and under and over and under, and just keep going. And then every 2 or 3, just pull it in a little bit tighter. At first, you're gonna clearly be able to see the strings that you're threading around, and you will for the first few times you go around the flower. But after a while, those threads are gonna start disappearing under the thread you're weaving. And that's what you want to accomplish with the white, so that the white threads underneath all blend together. When you get to the thread that you tied off, just tuck it under what you're doing and keep going. Once you get to the point where your white thread is covering the strands in from the petals, you can switch over to a new color or come out wider with the white a bit if you want to. I'm gonna switch over. And when you're ready to switch over to your next color, unravel it from the group. You will have extras. I cut the pieces long in case you decided you didn't want 4 colors, or you wanted more or less of something. So the way you're gonna knot this off is you're gonna lay the 2 strings next to each other, wrap them around your finger, and tie them together. And then pull it tight, get them knotted together, cut off the excess, and then keep weaving. As you weave, that extra knot here is just gonna get tucked behind the threads. So then take your new thread, you can ball it up so it'll tuck under easier. Make sure you pick up where you left off with the over-unders. Pulling down, and you just make sure when you get to that knot that you tuck it underneath what you're doing. Make sure you're still pulling your threads nice and tight into the middle so that it's covering up these white threads that are leading out to the petals. Okay, and then you get to the middle and you tug. You can make your next section however big or little you want. Like I said, you have 4 colors to choose from. I gave you extra of each, and you can put them in. You don't have to go in the order I have them wrapped in. You can pick whatever order you want, although they do get longer as they go out because you'll need more thread to wrap out the bigger sections. Each time around will take up more thread, but it's really up to you how you want to do it. Just start with the white so that it all blends together there in the center. It's going to have a weird white bump in the middle. And when you have your next section the size you want it to be, you can tie it off again with whatever color comes next and keep going. So I'm going to cut off the pink, take out my next color, unravel it, take the 2 ends and put them up against each other, knot them around my finger together, and pull that through. Tie that into a knot, nice and tight. Snip off the edges. And then same thing as before. When you get to that knot, you're just gonna tuck it behind what you've already woven. It's easier to take these yarns and wrap them up like around your fingers to get it all nice and compact so it's easier to weave in and out under the white bands. under this one, and then you just keep going over, under, stopping every like 3 or so around to pull it through. When you get there, you're gonna tuck it under. As I mentioned before, when you get to these knots, just make sure that what you're weaving goes on top of the knot when you press it, when you pull it in. It's up to you how far out you want to weave. I like the look of having a longer white petal at the end, but you have enough yarn that I gave you that you can weave all the way out if you want, or stop early, use all 4 colors, use less than them, alternate back and forth, it's fine. But when you reach the end, you're just gonna tie it off in a knot. Take the string, well, you can snip it shorter, and just tuck it behind what you've done. And there you have your woven flower. So thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed making your flower. Share with us on Facebook and let us see what your finished products look like.